Tech fans, what's good? All right, man. So, look, I have not been able to give my thoughts on Scott Cross, the new head coach for, obviously, Georgia Tech. I was there at the press conference, as you guys can see. You guys always running up my content. As always, love y'all, man. I love my Georgia Tech fans. But let's talk about this new hire, man, what my honest thoughts is. A lot of people feel like this was something they already had in the works and, whatever. They had it, pretty much already planned out. But what I will say is I think they did a damn good job. And I gave the hire a B on Georgia Tech on SI, right? Because I feel like this is a coach with nearly 2 decades of experience, 19 years and counting currently. Coached at UT Arlington, coached obviously at Troy. It was very successful. Those programs were not that good when he got there. And the fact that he was able to turn both of those programs around into really good teams says a lot. He's already coached multiple players of the year, right? Conference players of the year, multiple newcomers of the year, multiple freshmen of the year. So one thing this guy does, and what he said in his press conference, is he develops talent in at a high level. And one thing that stood out to me is that he said he's going to have an individualized plan for each of the guys, 1 through 15 on this roster, to get better. You don't always see that when it comes to coaches. Usually they kind of, center around the best players. So that's the part I love. And then, he's going to be doing dribbling practices with them, shooting, just everything he needs to get them boys ready. And the next thing I liked about him in the press conference that he said is that he's trying to retain some of his roster, right? He's gone in, had conversations, did a Zoom meeting, but he's already identified guys that are priorities that he's trying to keep. Will it be easy? Of course not. He's a new coach. How can we trust you? Not too sure. But at the same time, he's at least made progress and tried to do that. So now, who are the priorities? We don't know off the top. Who should be priority? Probably going to be a Kai Fleming. You think about Jaden Mustaf, obviously. Mo Silla, if you're able to keep him. Those should be guys you should center around your program and your franchise around, right? Cole Kurak, we'll see what happens with him. But it's going to be interesting to see who's going to be the priority and who's going to be able to stay. And then I think with that piece of it, all those guys can get even better with him as the head coach because that's what he specializes in, player development. Then number 2, I love that he's connecting with the old Georgia Tech players, like obviously Kenny Atkinson, right? Guys like that, just being able to connect with them on that kind of tier and that level in order to, make everybody just feel welcome, make everybody feel like, yo, this is your team too. And I think that's the key, right? Connecting with the old school teams, connected with the administration. And that's what Scott Cross is already doing. And he wants to bring them back. And I love that he wants to pack out the Thriller Dome, McCamish Pavilion, and make it like it was before, make it like old. And that's exactly what you need in this new era. And I love, too, it's a blue-collar mentality. This is not a glitz and glamour type of a pickup. And I mean in every due respect, as I can say. And when I say not glitz and glamour is like they're trying to get it out the mud. He's trying to recruit OKGs, right? Not guys. It'll be interesting to see if he ever goes and tries to recruit a 4-star or a high-caliber guy. But he's more so looking guys that got a chip on his shoulder, high motor, high character, bought into the team, willing to sacrifice. Those are his kind of guys he's trying to recruit. And that's not bad. I think he's going to need 1 or 2 guys that are extremely talented to go along with it to even be competitive in the ACC. But if you got your program centered around that and one build, one message, I think that helps you out obviously a lot. So overall, man, I think it's a great hire for Georgia Tech. I think it should help and pay dividends. Will they be good year 1? I don't know. But I think if you give them some time, I feel like Scott Cross is going to be able to figure it out and get this team at least to a level where they're competitive, at least to a level where they're playing in ACC tournaments. They're playing in potentially ACC championship games, right? Being able to go back to the NCAA tournament. I think Cross at least gives you that as a bare minimum as the head coach of Georgia Tech. So a really good hire, I would say definitely a solid B. The key now is will Alpert equip him with the proper resources to turn this thing around. He says it's going to be competitively balanced. He says it's going to, obviously, they're going to be a competitive team, and he's going to try his best to resource it as much as possible. Now we just have to see if that comes to fruition. That's the biggest question. But I feel like Cross is the right man they hired, and I feel like it should pay dividends here and not too long short. But comment down below, Georgia Tech fans, what do you guys think of this hire?